Hello, and welcome to today's writing stream. I am coming to you from a new location today. I'm in Christchurch, and I haven't used the YouTube live stream this from here before, so I've got no idea how the internet is going to hold up. And I feel a little bit odd about doing this. I don't know why changing my location would have such a big effect, but I feel really exposed and vulnerable because I'm at a big table in the middle of the main living room kitchen area rather than tucked away in my room where no one will bother me basically. But I'm pretty excited to be here. On my first of these sprints, I wrote 1,800 words and finished an entire scene, which felt great. I only wrote 1,000 words yesterday, but I am keen to finish the scene I was writing yesterday and hopefully start a new scene. I run into a bit of a hiccup. I started plotting the next scene and realized I can't actually plot until I finish the scene I'm working on now. So that's going to happen today. But yeah, I was fortunate yesterday to jump on board Sako Tumi's pop up writing sprints stream. Sako has a YouTube channel and it's worth checking out if you're a fan of these writing sprints. But yeah, I'm just going to hop straight into it. And oh, there's a few little things I need to get ready. Yep. Okay, perfect. So yeah, um, in the description of today's stream, I mentioned that I wanted to do a 5-minute warm up. Um, since I'm starting the stream a bit later than usual at 10 a.m. New Zealand time, I am already warmed up basically. So I'm just going to set my timer, dive straight in. Um, I invite you to take out whatever project you're working on now and join me as we write or draw or sketch, knit, do admin stuff, whatever it is, for the next 25 minutes. Okay, I'm in forest. I have chosen my tree for today and we are ready to go. So 25 minutes starting now. Okay. Ah, we are back from our first 5-minute sprint. Oh, I don't know why I'm so stiff. That was a really difficult scene. I hate confrontation in real life. I'm also really bad at writing it. I don't know because I was looking at my Scrivener document, not the screen. I don't know what kind of faces I was making. Embarrassing story. When I draw, I often make the facial expression of the character that I'm drawing, and I'm so focused that I don't even notice I'm doing it. In my final year of high school, I went into a boarding school. We moved across country, and because I just had one final term left of school, it was decided that instead of starting a new school just before final exams, I would go into the boarding hostel at my school and just stay there until exams were over. So, yeah, went from living with my family to living with 100 something other girls. It was interesting, but I didn't think much of it at the time. I was pretty much focused on studying, and art was a big hobby of mine at the time, so I was just doing my own thing. A few years later, my sister went into the boarding hostel. She opted to continue at our school rather than start a new school, and she was talking to an older girl in the boarding hostel, and she was like, "Wait, are you related to Gillian? Your sister is so scary. Honestly, she just sits there scowling. It looks like she's plotting to murder someone." And my sister had to reassure this poor girl that no, I was not a murderer in the waiting. I was just very weird. But, while I no longer do art as much as I would like, I suspect the same thing happens when I write, that I take on the facial expression of whatever mood I'm describing. So that was a really good sprint, actually. I'll see how I did. Wow. Okay, we're at 737 words, which means that I've hit 60,000 words for this entire project. I want to say, although my goal for the month of June is finishing the story, I did not start the story in June. I started it December 31st, so I've been working on it for ages. But yeah, that's really good progress. I am excited to hit that milestone. If you're watching this at a later date, I'd love to know what you're working on today and what milestones either you're aiming for this month or that you have already hit. So I find it really helps to break down a large project like writing a book into smaller milestones. I set myself both word count milestones and chapter milestones, but also scene milestones. I'll actually show you I've called it my project dashboard. There we go. So up here at the top, this section here is for writing the end of my story. I suspect I'm going to have 18 chapters altogether, and each of those chapters contains 3 scenes. So, where this square has been coloured in, I have finished this scene, and I actually, in my sprint that I've just done, I've finished another scene, so I can colour that box in. Woohoo! And down here, oh my gosh, sorry. It's not the way I think it's going to be. Edit. This is the whole book, and once I've edited each of these chapters, I will color in. But of course, editing has to wait until the story is complete. So, I'm really excited to be about to jump into a new chapter. It means I can actually plot this chapter now and figure out what I'm doing because as expected, I did not end that scene where I thought I was going to end it, which means that things now I have to slightly rearrange my expectations. So next sprint, I think will be a plotting sprint for me, but before that, I'm going to grab a drink, do some sort of self-care stuff, and I'll be back to start the next sprint in a couple of minutes. So I'm going to disappear for now, but we'll be back soon. Okay, we are back. Sorry about that. The break went longer than anticipated because the people whose house this is decided they were going to come in and use the kitchen. In case you're wondering, I have not broken into somebody else's house and I'm just randomly using it. I have permission to be here. But yeah, I thought, it's probably better just leave the camera off. I also took advantage of the break to make myself a new cup of tea. I've got no idea what type of tea this is. It's just a anonymous tea bag. It says this is a moment of serenity, which I am a sucker for bad puns. So um, let's see. I think it is possibly chamomile, something herbal anyway. So that's going to be nice. Um, what else was I going to say? Oh yeah, so I wanted to talk about this mug. This is one of my favorite mugs. And the reason I love it is because this was a gift to me from my niece when she was very little, maybe 2 years old, maybe not even that. But at the time, okay, wow, I just realized. At the time, I was working on either Morgan's Song, it must have been Morgan's Song, which is the third book in the Deep Magic series. I'm writing the fifth book now. But so I'm writing on Morgan's Song, and I went to Typo, which is a store we have here in New Zealand. They stock stationery and mugs and notebooks. I have so many Typo notebooks. I just love their notebooks so much. But I got myself a really big Typo mug. It was about this big, pink, and the text on it said, instant mermaid, just add tea. And I love that mug. It was the size, you could really make a decent cup of tea in that mug. But the Deep Magic series, it involves Morganau, which are Welsh water spirits. And so the mermaid vibe was kind of on point for the series. And the tea, a very British, very Welsh thing, having a cup of tea. So I loved that mug. It was my Deep Magic mug, basically. Anyway, I left that mug at my sister's house, and whenever I stayed with her and her family, that was my designated mug. One day, I was hanging out babysitting my niece, and my mug got broken, and I was sad, as you can expect. I loved that mug, but we had to sweep it up and put it in the rubbish. And my niece was really confused. Um, I think this was the first time she'd seen something break and get thrown out, basically. So she didn't really understand that it was gone, and I had to pick her up and carry her out to the rubbish bin, and we looked at my mug in the rubbish bin, and we said goodbye and thank you to my mug. It was very Marie Kondo in retrospect, and yeah, I thought nothing of it. I was disappointed that I'd broken my mug, but, I wasn't gonna be going near a Typo for a while, and they were no longer stocking that sort of mug, so I was out of luck. But apparently my niece was really into for the next few days, she kept on talking to my sister and talking about the broken mug and how I needed a new mug, and eventually my sister took her shopping, let my niece pick out a mug for me, and this is what my niece chose. So it is a blue mug, with just covered with pink flamingos. And when I initially saw this mug, I was just like, "What?" I'm not super into pink, and I've never had an interest in flamingos, so I was not, I was thrilled that my niece had chosen something for me, and I would have loved whatever she'd chosen, but, initially, I was a little bit, "I don't know about this mug. What does this mug say about me?" And then I discovered that, the collective noun for a group of flamingos is a flamboyance. So everyone knows that a group of crows is a murder of crows. Now you have a flamboyance of flamingos. So that immediately changed how I felt, not only about the mug, but about flamingos. I have now embraced flamingos. Um, yeah. When I'm home, you may notice in my bookshelf, I have a row of flamingo lights behind me. I don't usually have them on, but that was a present from a friend. So yeah, I have really embraced flamingos in my day-to-day life. So yeah, this mug, it always makes me happy whenever I use it. And so yeah, I'm going to have some good writing vibes. It's also really nice that I'm using this mug as I sit down to write what is potentially the final book in the Deep Magic series. Though, having been saying for ages that this is the final book, I have remembered that there is a plot point that I can't address in this book, so maybe I'll have to write another book for it later. But yeah, um, I I've written standalones that have sequels and turned into trilogies and whatever. I've I've learned that I can't just say things like final book or standalone because, like, I have any control over what I write. What I do have control over is setting the timer and doing another 25-minute sprint. So that is what we will do. If you are writing along with me, do you have a drink beside you? What are you drinking? What are you drinking it in? Inquiring minds want to know. So answer that question and then get to work. 25 minutes starting now.